So, Your Honor, let me clarify one thing. On that day, and this is something I'd raised previously in the court as well. On that day, an employee of the firm that was representing me, and it represents me still in a number of matters, essentially called the police, leaked sensitive case files about matters in which I was suing Victoria Police to the police. That information has been discovered in another proceeding. The fact that she did it, that was the relevant information that I wanted to bring to Your Honor's attention. It was only discovered yesterday because. So.
Alright, so what else do you need the prosecution to provide for the contest mention?
So, Your Honor, without redaction, all body cam footage from that day. They came to my office, Your Honor. All communication that Victoria Police received on that day concerning me and concerning events that had initiated on that day. So, Your Honor, to give you context, it's alleged, and this is in the statement of the complainant in the other matter, that Victoria Police had been looking for a reason to arrest me because they wanted to arrest me so they could serve me with a family violence safety notice in relation to her. This is in her affidavit. So, then they made up this indictable charge.
Whose affidavit?
So, Your Honor, on the 20th of July, Ms. Anaz, who was a director of the law firm, Ms. Delara Anaz, my partner, and she was also the litigation manager for the firm. She had been pivotal in the proceedings for tort law that I was commencing against Victoria Police. She, after I broke up with her and it was discovered that as a vindictive exercise, she had been leaking material to opponents. She effectively had her parents call the police and say that she was being held at the office without her consent, which was completely a fabrication. There's extensive evidence of that. She's not contesting any of the evidence now.
Okay, the second point is all communication received by Vicpol on the 11th of October 2021.
The 20th of July, Your Honor, that's when I was arrested. So, on the 20th of July, she called the police.
What date in July?
The 20th of July 2022. And the police came to the office. They didn't have a reason to arrest me, but they couldn't serve me with some documents that they wanted to serve me in relation to Delara Anaz unless they arrested me and took me to the station. So, they came up, Your Honor, and this is all on the internet right now. They came up to my office. They said that they wanted to interview me in relation to a charge, that was the Allen matter. So, Mr. McGregor had made a complaint which was not being pursued. Then, they decided to use that complaint as a basis to arrest me for an interview. I told the police that they can't arrest me for an interview. They said that they can. I told them I didn't want to be interviewed. They took me to the station, waited, put me in the cell until Ms. Anaz had made the statements that she wanted to make to allow them to issue the family violence safety notice. Then, when they started interviewing me, I said I had already said I don't want to be interviewed. They said, okay, then we can't interview you. They immediately let me go without the interview. But then they served me the documents in relation to Ms. Anaz. They had arrested me only in relation to Ms. Anaz. The reason I wanted this to go to the county court, Your Honor, is because disclosure obligations are enforced there. And in the magistrate's court previously, the prosecution has been able to run away with mischief without the disclosure obligations being met. The disclosure obligations that have now been met in relation to her matter were only met because I refused the magistrate's court jurisdiction. The VGSO is running this matter right now. They are currently the subject of a number of Supreme Court proceedings initiated by me because they don't disclose material. Then, it goes to the OP when it goes to the county court stream, and the OP instantly releases a lot of material.
I need to know what other documents you want.
And all communication between Victoria Police and any other person in relation to.
Regarding you?
Yes.
What often seems to be as a slide in the sense of one proceeding is used to obtain material that is relevant for another.
Your Honor, that's a frivolous.
I'm not saying that that is the case in this particular matter, but I'm just wary that the disclosure obligations need to relate to this particular investigation. Of course, in the sense of he was arrested, interviewed, released without charge, or released pending summons, and was perhaps served with a safety notice. One would expect that to arise from the statements that would be prepared by the members who were present that day. But I'm just cautioning that if this disclosure request is too broad, it actually strays into unrelated.
Your Honor, may I speak now? She's misleading.
Go on.
Your associate is muting me, Your Honor, without any warning. This is unacceptable.
Go on, Mr. Cooksall.
So, Your Honor, the fact is, and this is caught in the video footage, and this was raised in the conference with Ms. Price. The video of my conference with Ms. Price is on YouTube for everybody to see. The fact is that, Your Honor, on that day, I was only arrested because they were charging me with an indictable offense. If they weren't charging me with an indictable offense, they could not have arrested me. This is why there is mischief in this matter, because they arrested me in relation to Emza Naz, because Emza Naz was leaking documents to the police in breach of her intervention order, by the way, which the police is now not enforcing. And they arrested me so they could serve me with documents about her and kept me in jail for half.
Well, but that's an argument you can have.
No, Your Honor, but I want discovery of all the material that the police received at the time they were arresting me, because it goes to their motivation to arrest me.
Well, as it reads now, the order will be all the body cam footage regarding you relevant to the 20th of July 2022. All communication received by Vicpol regarding you on the 27th, 20th of the 7th, 2022 on that day, and events.
Matters initiating on that day.
The above to be provided by the 7th of July 2023.
Yeah, so, Your Honor, have you included, and matters originating that day?
And matters originating that day. But it has to be relevant to the arrest.
But, Your Honor, I'm saying, I was arrested only pursuant to Emza Naz's collusion with the police. As Your Honor will note, if I was charged with a summary offense, I could not have been arrested that day. They charged me with an indictable offense and then dropped it at the first hearing. The only reason I was charged was so I could be arrested. And then at the interview, they said, well, if you don't want to be interviewed, we will let you go, when I had always said that I don't want to be interviewed. And, Your Honor, the informant said that the reason they had arrested and dragged me to the police station was so I could say, on the camera, that I didn't want to be interviewed. So later on, if I made any frivolous allegations that I was being denied my right to be interviewed, that could be rejected. So, they arrested me, put me in handcuffs first, then took off the handcuffs when I told them the law, put me in the divvy van, made me wait several hours in the station while Emza Naz was preparing her statement, which was then served to me right after the interview. They delayed the interview for 4 hours, Your Honor.
Mr. Cooksall, you have a legitimate gripe, but it's not for me to determine now. What I'm trying to do is,
they have to make an application for non-disclosure. If anything relates to this matter, they must comply with the decision, and they can make an application for non-disclosure pursuant to Section 416A of the Criminal Procedure Act. If it is irrelevant, the default position is that they must provide it. That's the Criminal Procedure Act, Your Honor. You're simply enforcing it because.
Thank you. And all communication received by Vicpol on the 20th of July 2022 re Mr. Cooksall and events. And relating to events on the 20th of July 2022, when arrested relating to this matter.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
I will make that order.